That's right. The portal keeps on rolling on for Michigan State football, but the latest additions, yeah, they're going to give Michigan State some instant help on the defensive side of the ball.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, how on earth are we all doing in the midst of another portal day, a rather busy portal day right here in East Lansing? Guys, thanks a lot for making Locked On Spartans part of your daily listening routine right here on the number one ranked Locked On Podcast Network. Now, let's get right into it because this won't be our first episode today. We got a basketball game later tonight that we will reflect on. Should the Spartans win, lose, whatever it is. But there's way too much going on in the portal to wait until tonight to recap it all. Because even since last time we've spoken, there's been 5 new additions to this roster, bringing the grand total up to 7 new Michigan State Spartans. Now, we're going to be starting not just in the defensive secondary, but perhaps on the starting rotation of the defensive secondary, thanks to a trio of additions that were just added within the last 24 hours, guys. And we're going to go to the very northeastern tip of the country here, because out of Maine, we have 6', 200-pound safety Devin Vaught. Now, he was a starter the last 2 seasons up at Maine, and last season, 60 tackles, 3 interceptions, second-team All-CAA team. And look, he kind of played everywhere in that defensive secondary, especially most of his snaps. I would say roughly 50% of his snaps played at box safety. 30% played at the free safety position, and then just a tick under 20% in that slot position, okay, that nickel safety position. So this is a guy that's been moved around like a pawn in that secondary so he can fit any mold, but he's a physical player. Okay, he graded really highly in run defense if you want to take Pro Football Focus's word for anything, which, hey, I don't seem to mind their work. Some people love him, some people hate him, but hey, if you want to throw on the tape, watch his highlights, that's a guy that doesn't mind getting downhill and meeting someone just outside of the A-gap right there. So, yes, strong in the run defense. And also, you'll like this as well, Spartan fans. 2 years of eligibility remaining for Devin Vaught. So right now, I'm thinking that, okay, this is going to be your box safety. If the world just stopped right now and the season kicked off tomorrow, which what a scary thought that would be. There's still dozens that Michigan State still needs out of the portal. But for this exercise, let's just imagine, okay, season kicked off tomorrow. More than likely, he'd be your starter at that box safety position. Nikai Martinez, who, after his injury-riddled year last year, he announced his return back at free safety, you would imagine. So there's your 2 safety positions figured out right there. Now, there's 2 other defensive secondary players that we have to talk about. The second one, Michael Richard out of Louisiana Tech, and a lot of fanfare around him, not just out of last year, but also 2 seasons ago. He was the freshman of the year for his conference in the Conference USA. Not too shabby. Followed that up this year with a 39 tackle, 3 interception, 6 pass breakup season last year. All Conference USA second team or so, another strong year out of Louisiana Tech. Now, he mostly played the slot, a little bit of box safety. So, hey, this is another guy that's going to fit a position of need for Michigan State. It's kind of, what do they call that, an oxymoron? Because every position is a position of need for Michigan State, probably outside of quarterback. But even then, they're having a visitor in the next few days. You get my point. Michigan State needs help at the nickel position, in that slot corner position. In comes Michael Richard, because he has that experience. Now, Jason Killop of On3, he does great reporting over there at On3. He also added this tweet too. Richard canceled a visit to LSU that was scheduled for Monday to commit to the Spartans. So, not too shabby from Joe Rossi, from Pat Fitzgerald, from the whole defensive staff to get Michael Richard to commit and not even go down and visit the boot state. And LSU, who I would imagine has some resources for a pretty strong transfer portal class. So, hey, look, hit pause right now. Right, this is another guy that right now you could plug into your hypothetical depth chart. There's still a long way to go in this offseason. Of course, we got spring camp, we got fall camp, but what fun is it to wait until then? Let's talk about the here and now. January 5th, the depth chart very well could have and probably would have Michael Richard in that nickel position, Vaught at strong safety or the box safety, and then Nikai Martinez right there at free safety. So that is instant defensive help, but that is not all that they have added. We talked about him on the last show. Tre Bell, out of Iowa State. And when we talked about him, we talked about how, fine of a player he was, but also that this one felt a little inevitable that he would commit to Michigan State. And well, that's for a few reasons. One, he had no other visits planned. And number two, that's probably because perhaps in his own mind, he knew that he wanted to follow, well, his former cornerback coach, Hank Poteet, to now Michigan State. Because, yes, Tre Bell does come from Iowa State, just like Coach Poteet. So the 6'2", 205-pound corner, he played in all 12 games last year for the Cyclones, and he started in the last 8 games after their star corner, Jontez Williams, went down with an ACL injury. But in his spot, hey, look, that's 638 snaps that he played. He had 2 interceptions, 4 pass breakups, and not too shabby in his first year of Power 4 football, because before that, he was balling out at Lindenwood of the FCS prior to that. So he's a little on the older side. He will have 1 year of eligibility left, but look, you need a plug-in-and-play cornerback. Anyone that's listened to any episode talking about the transfer portal here at Locked On Spartans knows that, every position group needs help, but corner might be in the most dire straits right now, because returning from last year, Nijay Burt, he played 4 games, so he's got another year of eligibility, but you're returning Deuce Edwards, who didn't really play last year. You got a whole lot of freshmen. Point blank, you lost everyone. Joshua Eaton, gone. Malcolm Bell, gone. Aiden West, gone. Chance Rucker, gone. It is a firm hit of the reset button at this corner position. So Tre Bell out of Iowa State, let's play the game again. Season starts tomorrow. Would he be a starter? Well, yeah, almost kind of by default. But even after spring ball wraps up, fall camp wraps up, I would imagine he's going to be on that first string, if not having plenty of reps out there, just like he did at Iowa State a season ago, playing heavily, even if he didn't start those games. So, look, before we move along and talk about the last 2 guys that have been added in the last 24 hours, I did want to mention this because this is a name that we've talked about kind of ever since Hank Poteet has been hired here at Michigan State. And this is, well, you got to have some splash players out of the portal. Maybe Jontez Williams, one of the best corners to enter the portal out of Iowa State. Like I just said, he had the season-ending ACL injury last year, but he was still a very highly coveted cornerback. Could he be visiting Michigan State? Could he commit to Michigan State? Well, that answer is just a loud no there. He never scheduled a visit here. He has committed to USC. So just wanted to close the circle on that one. We talked about Jontez Williams. Not going to happen here. But here is what will happen. We got 2 more guys I want to talk about. One on defense, one special teams. That's right. Coming from the special teams factory and a special teams country, might I add too, Reese Dakin. Okay, this is a punter, guys, out of Iowa. Okay, so following LeVar Woods up here, not too bad. We like that. And also from down under, that talent-rich country of Australia, who's produced just punter after punter. Yeah, he commits to Michigan State out of the portal. Now, last year, kind of a tick above average in the Big Ten. As a punter, he had 43.6 yards per punt last season, and he had 10 punts that went 50-plus yards. Both of those, yards per punt, and the most 50-plus yard punts, were 7th in the Big Ten. Now, the year prior, as a freshman, he had a slightly higher average, 44.1 yards per punt, and he had 16 punts that went for 50-plus yards, but in that season prior, he also had 22 more opportunities to punt. So, look, you could say all the jokes about Iowa that you want, but there is some reality to it that if there's one thing that Iowa has been known for, it has been punting the ball and having great kickoff returners and punt returners, as we found out the hard way last year. But, hey, okay, punting factory, look, not the greatest year last year, but there is still some talent here. I actually reached out to Trent Condon of Locked On Hawkeyes to get his take on it, and he said, quote, disappointment this year, but really talented. And then added this little interesting quip, too. His 2 roommates from freshman year had to transfer as they were walk-ons to hit the 105 scholarship limit and was pretty lonely this year, but is also following LeVar up to East Lansing. So a little bit of off-the-field wrinkle there, too. I mean, guys just a half world away, and his 2 friends that he roomed with, I mean, sure. It's not nothing, I suppose. But, yeah, welcome Reese Dakin. And I got to say, usually when you think Australian punters, you think, oh, well, he's just going to do that 8-step running start, this very unorthodox way of punting. No, it's a pretty standard American way of punting he does. So, hey, maybe he could blossom his last 2 years here. Now, the last guy that we're going to talk about, Caleb Wheatland. We're actually going to save that conversation for the next segment because we got Zach Blackerby of Locked on Auburn here to talk about it. And this is where Caleb came from. Played a little bit of Auburn, played a lot at Maryland. I've got some questions because I got to figure out what kind of a player are we even getting in linebacker Caleb Wheatland. But before getting to that, guys, you need to talk your ears off about Rocket Money because, oh man, yeah, let's be real. Managing your finances can feel overwhelming between subscriptions that you just forgot about, bills that keep going up, and trying to figure out where all your money is actually going every month. Well, yeah, it's easy to feel like you're losing control. Whomst amongst us hasn't felt like that, especially with all these subscription services out there this day. Then, well, I mean, who has time to track all these transactions or even hunt them down? Well, that is where our good friend Rocket Money comes in, the personal finance app that helps you take control, and it finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bill so you can grow your savings, guys. The automatic transaction categorization is a game changer. I can finally see exactly where my money is going each month. You can set budgets, goals, get personalized insights, receive real-time alerts for large transactions, upcoming bills, lower balances, you name it, guys. Rocket Money, they're going to help take care of you. So let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. One more time, guys, rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Here to help me with the latest pickup for Michigan State's defense, it's Zach Blackerby of Locked on Auburn because, Zach, we got a linebacker from your backyard, Caleb Wheatland.
Wow.
Of Auburn. I feel like them apples. I actually don't know if, sure, we like the apples over here. We could use any warm bodies. We need dozens of players in this portal cycle, but
we're in the same boat. I get it.
Should I love the apples, Zach? Because let me just tell the tale of the tape here. 2025 transfer portal cycle. My God, this guy's a top 15 ranked linebacker according to 24/7 Sports. This is after he stars at Maryland, 466 snaps. He led Maryland with 4 sacks. He graded fairly highly in pass coverage, Zach. And then, can you fill in the rest there? What happened at Auburn?
Yeah. So Auburn's linebacker room, when Caleb Wheatland came in, there were several guys where, all right, if they put it all together, we'll see what happens. And then they all put it all together. I think it was a combination of that. I mean, Xavier Atkins that came over from LSU in that same cycle, he became one of the best linebackers in football. And then, DeMarcus Riddick's a guy that was a highly touted guy. He kind of got a little bit banged up this year, but Elijah Melendez, Bryce Diaz, 2 of the better freshman linebackers in college football, especially Melendez down the stretch. And then a guy, Robert Woodyard, who had been there for a few years in the system. He kind of stepped up. And so Wheatland joining later in the process, and we heard early on in fall camp that Wheatland, it took him a little bit of time to kind of get his feet up under him. I assume that had to do with DJ Durkin's system and scheme. And the other guys just beat him out. And I don't think it was him losing it. I think it was all the other linebackers in Auburn's room really, really stepping up, because Auburn had its issues last year. It was not at linebacker and not in the front 7. So I think Wheatland could be a solid player because, like you said, he's done it. I mean, he had, if I remember right, he was a solid guy for Maryland for 3 seasons. He played a ton of football.
High rotational guy.
About him coming in and kind of mentoring some of these younger guys, that we had the caveat of, if they put it all together, maybe Wheatland can help them put it all together. Yeah. And I don't know if Wheatland's leadership or, elder advice in the room is why they put it all together, but he's yours now. This is a Michigan State show, so yeah, let's say that's why it happened.
That's the angle I'm going to go with here. Is he's just this wise old linebacker owl, and he's the reason why everyone down at Auburn's front 7 blossomed into the beautiful flower they became here.
So any freshman linebackers coming in, be like, oh, they're about to get the Wheatland buff.
Studs. That's right. Tie that in with Max Bulla returning as linebacker coach. My goodness gracious, we're going to have a fortified front 7 here. But no, on a more serious note, Zach, What is it supposed to look like, though? Like, if this all worked out at Auburn, was he going to be a middle linebacker, strong side linebacker? Is he more of a will linebacker? Because it looks like Michigan State has the middle taken care of. We got Jordan Hall coming back. Brady Pretzloff, young, promising kid, only played 4 games last year due to injury, but you imagine he'll be the strong side guy. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, is this just a depth piece? Can he play weak side linebacker? Will he give competition? What was it supposed to look like last year?
It's been forever since I watched his Maryland tape, so please forgive me.
Sure.
But,
that's fine.
But going into fall, if I remember correctly, the discussion about Auburn's linebacker room, which seems so ridiculous now because of what Xavier Atkins did last year, but
sure.
There were questions of like, okay, it could be any of these two guys, nickel is the new base. So like, which of these two linebackers are going to kind of step up and be that guy? Mm-hmm. And we all assumed Wheatland would be one of them. We all assumed that going into camp, and it just didn't happen. I would assume based off of the little bit of the info of Michigan State's depth chart you just told me, mm-hmm. if he is your backup middle, I think this is a great addition.
Okay. I'll take that too, because I'm kind of lost in the middle here. Yes, produced a highlight, like a lot of stats at Maryland, as I've said, but also amongst those stats too. You mosey on over to Pro Football Focus, Zach.
Yeah.
That last season at Maryland, he also had a 28% missed tackle rate, which is top 10 in the nation and not like the good top 10. Like that's right. Kind of high out there. So I'm also wondering, okay, well, maybe that was an issue too, why he was getting the 6th most snaps at linebacker over at Auburn, according to Pro Football Focus. So, but look, are you ever going to complain about a backup linebacker with senior experience, a guy that's been around Power 4 football, whether it be the SEC for a little bit or Big Ten for a lot of it? I don't think I'm in a position to complain about it personally. I think it's a fine enough pickup.
Yeah. And look, I think when we added him, because Auburn was in the market for an experienced linebacker last offseason. And so when we did add him, it was, this guy makes a ton of sense. And now I think the needs that Auburn's looking for, we're like you guys, we've got to replace our whole dang team. And it's like, if you played for South Florida last year, you're coming to Auburn. That's what we're going through right now. And it's not a lot of this, right? Like it's not a lot of the Wheatland thing from Maryland where you've got several years as a starter and you've played a ton of snaps. With the young guys that are coming in, it's like, okay, like clearly the coaching staff believes in what you can become. But in today's age of college football, like how reasonable is that? How reasonable is getting a guy like, man, we think you could be really special 2 years from now. How often does that guy come in and he's not on the roster 2 years from now? At least with Wheatland, you've got a guy that has played a ton of football and been solid, not great, not awful, has been solid. I know you mentioned the tackle rate there, and maybe that's something to be concerned about if you want to be concerned about it. But if you want to find the positive in this, it's definitely experienced backup, very, very little to virtually no downside whatsoever.
And it's not a position where Michigan State needs an instant starter, at least in the middle and strong side. I think we're okay there. So all in all, I'll give a thumbs up. Sure. Why not?
Why not?
Thumbs up or thumbs down, Zach. I got to say, I would be remiss if I did not ask you about this because
are we going to talk about Peyton Thorne any? Or are we both moving on from that?
Let's spitball about it. Were you satisfied with the Peyton Thorne experience?
No, it was terrible, but I don't think it was his fault. In hindsight, I don't think it was all on him. Was he perfect? No. Was he as bad as it looked?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
That's my all-time worst take I ever had in Locked On history, is saying that after his junior year, Peyton Thorne's going to play himself into the NFL draft, and
he had a good junior year.
Just don't. You don't have to do this. Just no. You don't have
to.
You're a nice guy. But that was a bad miss, though.
Hey, tell me about y'all's running back that just entered the portal.
Mekhi Frazier.
Has he gone anywhere yet? I've heard Auburn is very interested in him.
And I heard that he is visiting Florida as well. That's why, obviously when you have, 40 people defect from the program, I'm always wondering where certain guys are going to visit. He was kind of high up on that list because what I saw from him after primarily playing linebacker at Texas high school, massive high school, said, okay, well, I'm an athletic freak. I'm just a little undersized for a linebacker. Let's give running back a try. I gotta say, all in all, pretty good. I really liked his vision that he had. He makes great cuts and reads in the second level of that defense. I don't think we ever saw that getting away from the cop speed, as Gus Johnson put it. He never had that breakaway speed, which kind of nipped him in a few runs he had. But all in all, I thought he was a fine running back. just didn't really materialize at the end of last year. I don't think him and the staff, the previous staff that is, saw eye to eye in a few things. The season was shut down a little bit early, so I think that was the whole kind of mystery to the end of the season there for him. I don't think it was necessarily injury, but yeah, I think he's a fine running back, better than most that you could find in the portal, I would say. So good luck with him.
Curious to see if Auburn is aggressive with him. They've already added one running back from South Florida. If South Florida has another running back in the portal, I'm sure they'll add him too, but whatever.
Sure.
Whatever.
The quick thumbs up, thumbs down question I was going to ask, because I threw out Alex Golsh's name here and there. Your thumbs up. Good for you, because I actually liked him. I really wanted him up here in East Lansing. I'm fine with Fitzgerald for now. But just wanted to get your take on it. So your thumbs up.
No, excited about Golish for sure. I didn't think, I did shows on 10 to 12-ish, head coaching candidates, and he wasn't on there.
That's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Auburn really thought it was Summerall for forever.
Well,
and then, Florida kind of, made sure that happened, which good for Florida. I think Florida and Auburn both got better coaches than what they had for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're similar, just one's offensive, one is defense. But yeah, the more I like about him, the more I hear about him, the more I think it makes sense. There are going to be some things that are very different versus what other SEC schools do. And we'll just have to see if that works or not, because what Indiana's doing is does that change how you do things? I don't know.
For better, for worse, I think it does. Zach, hey, this was awesome, grabbing your ear for a little bit here, and your wisdom, just like the wisdom that Caleb Wheatland will just throw on this whole linebacker room. Now, guys, one of two things are going to happen after this, and I actually have not told Zach this, and he's the leader of Locked On College Sports. This could be the last show of Locked On Spartans ever, because Zach, in about 20 minutes, I'm going to my first fitness class in years. So that could take me out. This good for me in the moment right now, but this could be the end for me. I don't know if I will be leaving that class as an alive person, but should I do it, Zach, the second thing that could happen, we'll see everyone later tonight recapping this Michigan State USC basketball game. So pick your road, haters. I know you're rooting for.
Please let me know if we need to hire another Michigan State host. Please let me know.
I'll give you a list of people you should call. Yeah, I'll give you a list anyway, just in case. On my way there, as I'm driving on a pen and paper, I will just.
Yeah, if I don't text you back in 45 minutes, here's who you need to call.
That is precisely it. If you don't hear from me by 6 p.m. Eastern time to go to Plan B and C and D. And just good luck, Zach. Hey, it's been great getting to know you, my man. All right, guys. God forbid things don't work out. It's been real. But, hey, if we pull off the miracle and we do survive this class coming up, I'll see you guys in a few hours after the USC basketball game. All right, guys. Love you all. Go Green.